Members are giving themselves a pay raise. Do you guys deserve a pay raise?
Well, that's news to me. It's good news. You know, what has it been, 10 years or 14 years and no COLA, no change at all? I think it's about time something's done.
You support giving yourselves a pay raise?
How would I not know about a pay raise?
But I mean, people look at the performance of Congress and say, why should we give them more money?
What about the media? Think about that for a second.
And we're not paid by public money.
I know you're not, but I mean, half of your listeners are not there anymore. You're still getting the same paycheck? What's going on?
Well, I mean, you're taxpayer money. I mean, you guys deserve a raise. And Durbin essentially said that, yes, they should give themselves a raise. And what also is noticeable, though, to Jim, he wasn't aware that this was in the provision. Yeah. And he's the number 2 Senate Democrat. It just shows you how this was negotiated among a handful of members, and they're going to have to vote on this. And members really won't have time to read it either, Jim.
Unreal. But Manu, I have to say, you are worth every penny. Manu Raju up on Capitol Hill for us. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's discuss more now with Republican Congressman Tim Burchett of Tennessee. Congressman, thanks for being here this morning.
Oh man, this is why I started this channel. This is the stupidity we have from our government while we are in debt. Look at the screen right now. This is the bill. This is the budget they pulled up with. A massive spending bill lands in Congress. Lawmakers face critical questions. How will you read this before the vote? Like the guy we just saw. How? And once you guys see, based off, because this came out and they thought they were going to sneak this through, but people began to speak out. VBEC read it. He gave his perspective. A lot of people are, even if you don't read it, this is a joke to the American people. The American people deserve better than a rushed bill that they know nobody will read and they probably could have done beforehand, but they're playing games. And we cannot do that anymore. This is fourth quarter for America. This is a big, big deal. By the way, guys, if you like the video, don't forget to subscribe. The biggest way you can support the channel is to watch the video all the way through. Appreciate it. Okay, let's see what some people are saying about this. We got another leftist going to speak on this bill. It's funny. It's no longer Democrat and Republicans because the Republicans, I mean, the Speaker of the House is a Republican. He's the leader on this. He's playing games. And this is what really annoys me. Actually, let's go to that first.
Let me talk briefly about the funding of the government. The CR is coming together. Bipartisan work is ongoing. We're almost there. We worked.
It already came out, but this is a bunch of BS. Once you saw already what the bill looked like.
Really hard to achieve consensus on a bill that responsibly funds the government into March of next year. We've been working around the clock to get the CR done. It was intended to be, and it was until recent days, a very simple, very clean CR, stopgap funding measure to get us into next year.
Liar. There's no way.
When we have unified government under the Republican Party.
This is what he's trying to do. He's trying to kick it down the road. That's what he wants. He wants to kick it down the road. He doesn't want to have any teeth, any accountability to say, no, make this bill leaner. We are going to hit $1 trillion in interest payments alone in about 100 days is what people are saying. That's insane.
It's not.
Listen, this guy's a left.
This is not how things should work, period. This is bad for America. It is bad for our democracy when we have elected officials voting on things that they literally have no real idea what's in them to spend billions of dollars of government money.
And by the way, what's funny is, okay, so they allocated $100 billion to rebuild some of the homes that were hit by the hurricane, right? My question is, why is it 100? Why is it not 99? Do they actually have do they actually itemize these things, or it's just like, yeah, 100, let's just round it up. Oh, it was actually 89, but you know what? Let's just make it 100 billion. Like, when it's not your money, it's so easy to spend money, but they put these round numbers out there that I'm like, there's no way they itemized and said, this is how much this is going to cost. This is how much this is going to cost. It's a joke to them. This is why I'm letting you know, people are paying attention now. It's no joke. People are paying attention. We will not tolerate this.
Just so that they can avert the government shutting down, because like a college student writing a term paper through.
That's not what they're trying to do. They're trying to shove this through without any scrutiny. They're not trying to prevent the they're I think he's wording it wrong. They're not trying to prevent the government from shutting down. They're trying to position themselves in a way where they can have as much as their donors get paid, and have it done under the radar. So they're trying to rush it through right before Christmas. Again, most people are going to be talking about the Luigi thing, the drone stuff. This is what I'm saying. As people are talking about stupid stuff like that, this is the type of stuff that the people that matter, the people that run our world, our country, this is the stuff they care about. So don't be surprised when they do a bunch of weird stuff. They have their media machines cover a bunch of stupid things, or they create a lot of drama where where you become distracted and you don't pay attention to this. What this tells me exactly what I need to know about our government. They want to get people paid, but have the public not know what's going on and do it way under the radar. That drives me crazy.
3:00 in the morning. The deadline is the next day.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a joke. Look at this Democrat too. He's like, I feel like he's like kind of happy. They think it's still like Democrat or
House Democrats will be needed to pass government funding. That has been the case this Congress. It will continue to be the case even in the next Congress. House Republicans are going to need our votes, so we look forward to working with them to be partners in how we fund government. But this is a lesson for Speaker Johnson. I mean, work with us. Let's find solutions. Let's tune out the most extreme voices in your conference, and let's find
Trump supporters.
that consensus that will be necessary to fund government. That's the only way that this can move forward. And we look forward to seeing the substance of the legislation before we.
You know what? Screw them, man. They put in there a pay raise from themselves. Do they deserve a pay raise? Really? Let the government default. Let it go into recess. Let it have a government shutdown. I don't care. Screw them, man. They've been doing a crappy job. They're about to lead us into the Great Depression. Some Republicans, more populist Republicans speaking out.
It's a total dumpster fire. I think it's garbage. This is what Washington, D.C. has done. This is why I ran for Congress to try to stop this. And sadly, this is happening again. I think that it's shameful that people that celebrate Doge coming in, and yet we're going to vote.
Yeah, see, this is the thing, right? The Republicans celebrated, they were like, oh, we're so happy to have Doge come in, Elon, VBEC, it's going to be awesome. But then this is what they do. They go back to their old ways. They're like, oh, we'll deal with that budgeting later. This is what I want. I want you to write a fat check for my donors, for my constituents. Man, we're not in Kansas anymore, though. People are not they are not happy.
Vote for another $1 billion to be added to the deficit. And so it's ironic.
I mean, it's just swamp's going to swamp, right? 1,400 pages, still haven't seen the text. Multiple subject matters, important healthcare legislation in the context of extenders piled on the back of a 3-month CR with about $110 billion unpaid for, $25 billion in healthcare policy, half of which is fake pay for, being sold that is paid for because they're gimmicks and shuffling around the decks. Things like E15, which we didn't even have a full debate on. This is not the way to do business. The conference needs to decide whether we're actually serious about spending. And they talk about, well, we got to do mandatory spending reform and bend the curve. But we just voted on a $200 billion shift of dollars in Social Security that's going to shorten the time when Social Security expires or goes bankrupt. We're just fundamentally unserious about spending. And as long as you got a blank.
Just fundamentally unserious is a very good way to put it.
Check. You can't shrink government. If you can't shrink government, you can't live free.
Well, we're evidently going to take a 1,800-page document that we really hadn't read and going to pass it, add more debt. Very frustrating. It's opposite of what the Dose Commission is trying to do. We're going to continue to let the Democrats use the shut the government down, I dare you. If we're going to continue to capitulate, we're going to be in the same box.
The thing is with the leftists are militant. We need strong counter-revolutionaries. Mike Johnson is not that type of guy. Most Republicans they're conservatives. They want peace. They're not built for the militant They are no competition for the militant leftists that are occupying this government. You need strong leaders. You need a Trump. You need multiple Trumps. You need a lot of Trumps, because these people do not, they want the government to shut down. Many of them, they want the government to shut down because they're radicals. They want, okay, hey, look, capitalism didn't work. Now communism. I mean, that sounds crazy. I know it sounds far-fetched, but it's really not. These people are crazy. But people are starting to get fed up. Vote no is trending.
Why is Vote No the top trend in politics right now? Because Congress just received this bill that is over 1,500 pages long, and they are expected to vote on it this week. According to this tweet, they're supposed to vote on it today. So Vote No is basically telling Congress, if you don't have time to read this, you don't have time to approve it. This is our money, and it's...
By the way, this has happened multiple times. People are just now getting hip to this. And I bet there are way more people than there used to be actually paying attention to politics. And they're starting to realize, like, yo, how often have they been doing stupid stuff like this? For a very long time.
It's insane.
I remember us having, I mean, a year goes by so fast. I remember us having the same issue last year.
The government continues to sign off on these mystery bills containing tons of things that they know nothing about that will use our money to pay for them. You wouldn't sign a 1,500 plus page document that's about to use your money to pay for a bunch of mystery things. So Congress should not approve a 1,500 plus page bill that's going to use our money to pay for a bunch of mystery things.
And get a pay raise.
This whole bill is to avert a shutdown of the federal government, and basically Vote No is telling Congress, go ahead and shut down the federal government. We'll be fine without it. The crucial programs will continue to run, and people overestimate the importance of all of the other parts of the federal government. We will be fine without it, and it's far more harmful to approve this 1,500.
It is kind of crazy if you think about it. It is far more harmful for the federal government. Like, I actually think about it. What would be, I guess, maybe military, but we still have a pretty significant military assets, equipment, weaponry that will last us for a decent amount of time. Nobody's going to really try us because we're intertwined with many other economies. They wouldn't dare to attack the U.S. homeland. Other than that, I mean, what other function was originally the federal government designed to, essentially take our money for? Nothing really. Originally, the federal government was really only for the Department of Arms, or the Department of Army, I believe is what it used to be called before it was the Department of Defense. I honestly think if there was a shutdown for a little bit, and then after maybe 3 months, nobody felt a freaking difference, I think that would be beautiful.
Plus page bill without even knowing what's in it than to, God forbid, shut down the federal government for a couple of days.
Yeah, it's crazy. So this guy kind of did like a deep dive and found something. I mean, I'm going to read some other stuff, but this guy did like, this is one of the earlier guys I found that did more of a deep dive.
Resolution, the table of contents. I'm just looking for anything that sticks out as not having to do with funding. Okay, and I came across this in section 605, title 6, treatment of electronic services provided for House offices. Thought it was a little weird, so I went and looked at it. We're going to go through this real quick. They're talking about this Office of the Chief of Administrative Officer. They're giving some definitions here, what electronic communication services are, what House data is, and House data is with respect to a House office, any electronic mail, emails, other electronic or data communication, other data in general, including metadata, or other information of the House office. Very broad, pretty much anything that is produced by what is called a House office. And then they define the term House office, which is any employing office whose salaries or expenses are dispersed by the Office of the Chief Administrative Officer. Never even heard of this position before, but I went and looked. Right now, this lady, Catherine Zipndor, she's in charge of it, and they are charged with carrying out all the administrative functions of the House, including human resources, information resources, payroll, etc. So I'm pretty sure the entirety of like the House, the payroll comes from here. So right off the bat, this section of this continuing resolution is very broad. Pretty much anything that
I hate broad laws. Okay, this is kind of a weird video. Like, it's very zoomed in. Let's see what other people have to say.
This morning, we invite you to join in our conversation on Getter and Rumble. Election 2024, still saucy, folks. We are now 2 days away from a potential government shutdown, and we finally have a proposed CR, continuing resolution. House Republicans have reached a deal with Democrats on $100 billion of additional disaster relief, and also sending $10 billion to farmers for relief. Many conservatives slammed Speaker Mike Johnson for this deal, and this deal funds the government through March. That's it for all that money. For more, let's bring in Georgia Congressman Andrew Clyde. Congressman, what is the mood inside the conference right now, and will you be voting for this bill?
Well, thank you for having me this morning. I'll tell you, there's a lot of frustration because, last week we had this amazing conference with Elon and VBEC, and the mood in there was like, great, we're going to use the DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, to cut spending. And now here we have the very next week or a couple weeks later, we've got this massive Christmas omnibus or cramnibus, whatever you want to call it, with over $100 billion, $110 billion of unpaid for spending. That is in direct contradiction to what the Department of Government Efficiency is all about. President Trump got a mandate from the American people to cut spending. We have the Congress.
These people will not discipline themselves until we discipline them. That's it. That is it.
We're going to have the Senate, and here we are adding $110+ billion to our national debt. This is not the way things are supposed to go. This is not getting off on the right foot. This is the wrong track. And so there's a lot of frustration here, and I will tell you that I will be voting against this bill.
Congressman, since you will be voting against this bill, I'm just going to ask you straight up, how shameful is it not just the amount of spending in this measure, but the fact that they waited so long to get out the text for people to try to read it over? Friday is the deadline. The text just came out last night.
Well, I think one of the reasons the text just came out last night is they were trying to figure out everything they could jam into it. I mean, you've got over 1,500 pages, and this is supposed to be was supposed to be just a clean resolution, continuing resolution until March, so we could put it into Republican territory, so we could really have a more Republican bill. But that's not the case. I mean, this thing has everything from transferring RFK Stadium in it to relief for Haitians. I mean, there is so much in this bill that has nothing to do with the continuation of funding our government. I mean, it's a disaster, and it's embarrassing, honestly.
Shut down our government, man. Screw them. They don't deserve to be paid. We don't need them. They have been overreaching. The federal government was never supposed to be this big. The founders never intended it to go beyond this.
Well, the news today is Congress is trying to force a continuing resolution down the throats of the American people. That's right. This big stack of legislation was given to members of Congress last night. It's over 1,000 pages. They're supposed to read it and then vote on it today. Or the government will shut down. People won't get paid. Now, I said months ago that...
I mean, that was kind of the whole point of Doge, firing a lot of people. What if they fire everybody? I wouldn't mind that, honestly. I mean, honestly, I think most Americans wouldn't mind it either. They are very, very annoyed with the government.
This was going to happen. It happens every year. Because these guys can't stop trying to be celebrities and do their fucking jobs. Now, you might find it interesting that one of the line items in this legislation is to give members of Congress a pay raise.
Yeah, it's crazy. So let's see what VBEC, I mean, this is our Doge department. Let's see what they have to say about this because it's pretty freaking insane. Okay. So, let me make that a little bigger. This can't be called a continued resolution if it includes 40% pay increase for Congress. 100%. There are two provisions buried in the CR that Congress is trying to slip. A pay increase for members of Congress from 174,000 to 200. Bro, they're public servants, man. I thought they were public servants. How about fixing the freaking economy so your money will go longer? Have you ever thought about it that way? Because if the economy was right, if we weren't overspending, if inflation wasn't crazy, this could double as far as purchasing power. But they don't want to think that way because they're idiots. Also, members of Congress are receiving an opt-out from being required to use Obamacare. What's in the CR? This is crazy. Okay, so VBEC did a full breakdown. I wanted to read the full. Okay, let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger. I think that's as okay. Actually, let's do that. There we go. I wanted to read the full 150 or 1,500 page bill and speak with key leaders before forming an opinion. Having done that, here's my view. It's full of excessive spending, special interest giveaways, and pork barrel politics. If Congress wants to get serious about government efficiency, they should vote no. That's why that's trending. Vote no. Keeping the government open until March 14th will cost $380 billion by itself. But the true cost of this omnibus CR is far greater due to the new spending. Renewing the farm bill for an extra year, $130 billion. Disaster relief, $100 billion. Again, $100 billion, dude. Like, just round number. Why not 99? Did they even itemize what is required? Absolutely not. Stimulus for farmers, 10 billion. Again, another round number, because why not? Who gives a crap? It's not our money. The Francis Scott Key Bridge replacement, $8 billion. The proposal adds at least 65 cents for new spending for every dollar of continued discretionary spending. The legislation will end up hurting many of the people it purports to help. Debt-fueled spending sprees may feel good today, but it's like showering cocaine on an addict. It's not compassion, it's cruelty. Farmers will see more land sold to foreign buyers when taxes inevitably rise to meet our obligations, aka China, which we need to build to make sure China can't buy American farmland. Our children will be saddled with crippling debt. Interest pay well, his kids won't, but I mean, that's I know. Interest payments will be the largest item in our national debt. Congress has known about this deadline since they created it in late September. There's no reason why this couldn't have gone through the standard process instead of being rushed to vote right before congressmen want to go home for the holidays. Exactly. They're snakes, man. The urgency is 100% manufactured, 100%, and designated to avoid serious public debate. The bill could have easily been under 20 pages. Instead, there are dozens of unrelated policy items, of course, but the lawyers need to feel like they're smart. There are dozens of unrelated policy items crammed into the 1,547 pages of this bill. There's no legitimate reason for them to be voted on as a package deal by a lame duck Congress. 72 pages worth of pandemic preparedness and response policy, red flag. Renewal of much criticized Global Engagement Center, a key player in the federal censorship state. 17 different pieces of commerce legislation paving the way for a new football stadium in DC. Yeah, that's really needed at this point in time. A pay raise for congressmen, we've already talked about that, and senators, and making them eligible for federal employee health benefits. It's indefensible to ram these measures through at the last second without debate. We're grateful for Doge's warm reception on Capitol Hill. Nearly everyone agrees we need a smaller, more streamlined federal government, but actions speak louder than words, and this is an easy test. The bill should fail. Man, those are good words. What's the I wonder how many people retweeted this. I'm curious. Let me refresh the page. Hopefully it's making its rounds. Oh wow, almost at 1 million. Jeez. And this is a long one. And this was less than 2 hours ago. That's pretty impressive. So it seems like people are waking up, man. I mean, this is why I started this page, man. They're playing games. I knew that they were going to start to play games. These militants, these bureaucrats, these career politicians, these special interest groups are going to be in these people's ears. They're not going to be disciplined once the lights dim or the lights turn off. I knew they were going to start to do some stupid stuff, and they have been doing stupid stuff. And now this is the day. I mean, we've been talking about the confirmations of making sure the right pieces get into place into Congress or into the executive branch, into Trump's cabinet. But this is another thing. We got to be on their ash. I don't want to curse, but we got to be on their arse. Okay, that's all I got for today. Kind of a short one. I want to make sure screw the Luigi thing, screw the drone stuff, man. That'll get stuff. So that stuff will get sorted out. Screw the holidays, even. It's Jesus's birth. We love that. But listen, This is the type of stuff that actually matters, and nobody wants to talk about it intentionally. It's all intentional. All right, y'all. I'm out. I'll catch y'all tomorrow. Peace.